Hi, my name is Chrissy Grotsky, and I'm from the Office of Admissions. I'm one of the regional admissions managers, and I'm here today with two of our students, and we hope to tell you a little bit more about Michigan Tech. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yes, I'm Jeremy Mack. I'm a third-year civil engineering student here at Michigan Tech. I'm part of the concrete canoe team as well as the Copper Country Cycling Club, and I'm from Dearborn, Michigan.
And my name is Felicia Knapp. I graduated in December of 2013. My degree was biochemistry and molecular biology with a concentration in biology, and I'm from Woodhaven, Michigan.
Thank you. So just to start off, you're going to see this a lot about Michigan Tech. Our students really are crazy smart. They're a little crazy because at our winter carnival every year, they're out there working on for a month on 30-foot tall snow statues. And we get about 200 inches of snow, so they definitely have a lot to use. We have a lot of opportunities for our students to get involved in academics. They're really intelligent coming in, so we encourage them to grow while they're here, getting involved in a lot of enterprise programs and things like that. So if you want to find out kind of where you fall in the crazy smart spectrum, here's our average incoming student. About a 3.62 out of a 4.0 and roughly about a 26 ACT. Half are above that and half are below that. We also have about 130 majors here at Michigan Tech. So as far as that's concerned, you've probably heard that we're really great in engineering, but as Felicia would mention, we're really great in our sciences. We have wonderful psychology programs, all sorts of programs across the board. Our students would like to tell you a few little tidbits, so we have some slides in here for them to talk about. So want to tell us about how our professors are approachable?
I would say professors are extremely approachable for a few reasons. One, because the class size is smaller than the average school. The average class size is about 25 students. Of course, in your first year classes, you might have a few lectures that are maybe 200 students maximum, but after that, when you're getting down to your major courses, they're much smaller. And with a small student-to-faculty ratio, you can imagine that the professors definitely know you, and you definitely know the professors. I actually had one course, it was the one I was not looking forward to at all, called composition. And in this course, it was a writing course, and it's something I wasn't very excited about, but when I got into the classroom on the first day, the professor told us that he was basing the entire class on mining, which is a historical, well, the QNL was very historically known for its mining. And so I still wasn't very interested. But right in the first week of course, he had all the students get in the car, and he drove us throughout the QNL Peninsula, stopping at different mines, so we actually saw what we're writing about, what we're studying. So that was just one example of how great professors were in class and also how involved they are with the students.
In one of my classes, the professor always brought candy to each of his classes, so that's kind of how he tried to reach out to his students. But he would also try to remember who the students were, their names, where they were from. He joked around with a lot of students, but he kind of dished it right back and joked around with him. So they're very approachable, very personable. A lot of them have open door policies, so if their doors are open to their office, then you can go in and ask them a question, even if it's not during posted office hours.
And honestly, by the time you graduate from Michigan Tech, we hope you get to know some of your professors on a first-name basis and feel comfortable talking with them, not only about your interest inside of school, but also outside. So I think, Felicia, you had some comments about the learning centers that we have on campus, and these are places that students can go that are department-specific for help.
Yep, so one thing I wish I knew about before I came to Michigan Tech were the learning centers. There's a learning center for pretty much any subject you're going to study: chemistry, physics, engineering, computer science, biology, writing. You name it, you can imagine it's here. And what's great about it is that the students are running the learning center. So it's not faculty, it's students that have gone through the course, experienced the exams, experienced how to take notes and how to really succeed in that course. And so if you want to drop in and just walk in, and if you have a question on your homework or just want last-minute help before an exam, it's a good opportunity to do that. Also, you can go in for a 30-minute-a-week or 1-hour-a-week appointment, which was really helpful when I was studying for chemistry or calculus too. So I definitely utilize learning centers, and I think most students here do because they're free.
And honestly, our students really have a lot of resources here on campus, not only in the classroom, but outside of the classroom. Experiential learning is one of those opportunities. We have a lot of opportunities for our students to get involved in our enterprise teams, which are like student-led organizations. They're almost like businesses, and they're working on different projects that compete at the national level, as well as work closely with different companies and corporations. We also have opportunities for our students to get involved in things like our honors college and research opportunities, studying abroad, so lots of ways for them to expand beyond just the classroom. And just so you know, you do have the opportunity to ask questions along the way, so if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask. We'd be happy to elaborate on anything that we're talking about. So all these experiences that our students have at Michigan Tech in the classroom, outside the classroom, I think really builds their resume. And so what happens is our students have the opportunity to work with career services, to also do mock interviews, to work on building their actual physical resume that they'll give out. They even talk about etiquette dinners, all sorts of things. And our career services bring over 350 companies to campus here each year. We do have 2 career fairs, one in the fall and one in the spring, that are larger events. And then there's also some smaller opportunities throughout the year for students to meet one-on-one with different companies. Did you guys take advantage of anything in career services?
Yes, I did. I actually got an interview for my co-op through this career fair, so it's a very good opportunity. Even if you don't get an actual interview, it's good to get your resume out there and get experience talking to different companies.
Did you do a co-op?
Yes, I did. I was on co-op with Soil and Materials Engineers last summer into the fall. I did have to take a semester off, so that will put me back academically, but the experience that this co-op has given me is pretty invaluable. I've learned a lot of what's out there as far as civil engineering and what have you.
From career services, I use the mock interviews because I'm heading to medical school, and I had my first medical school interview. I was really nervous. So if anything, it's useful to just clear the nerves because they're not going to tell you exactly what to say, or they don't know about you, but even just to talk to someone who you don't know and be able to approach a company and ask them questions, and they teach you how to learn about their company, that sort of thing. And for me, medical school, it was very useful. At the end of the mock interview, the person from Career Services walked me through and gave me his feedback on every question he had asked me. So I felt much more confident walking into my interview because I did the mock interview.
Okay, and it looks like we have our first question. Just so you know, the question was, where are these statistics taken from? So first, starting with our average starting salary, that's something that we keep on record here at Michigan Tech. So that's something that we do from a standpoint of just figuring out what we actually survey our students. And we also, that's how we know our 94% placement rate. We actually survey our students 6 months after graduation, and we look that they're placed into a permanent job in their field, so it's not just any job. If they are in graduate school or if they're in the military, we do have ROTC, Army, and Air Force, so some of our students do go directly into military service. From the 10th highest starting salary in the nation, that is from payscale.com, so they look at the starting salaries across the nation based on where students are coming from, and they are the ones that determine that. So the 350 companies, that's something that we interview our students for, and the 9 interviews at graduation is another that we ask our students. And so they are the ones that are filling out the survey, and that's how we track that. So I hope that answers your question. If there's anything else, just let us know. Okay. So student life here at Michigan Tech, we've talked a little bit about the academics here, but there's also a lot of fun things to do as well. Not that academics aren't fun, we definitely have a blast in the classroom, but we have about 220 student organizations. So our average drive time for our students is roughly about 9 hours, so they're coming from quite a distance, and so a lot at Michigan Tech happens on the weekends, a lot's happening in the evenings because our students really aren't going home. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about what you are interested in here at Michigan Tech, what organizations you have been able to get involved in, things like that.
Okay. Well, one thing that's nice, my drive home is about 10 hours. So that's actually one reason why I chose Michigan Tech was because the majority of the students have a long drive home. So it creates more of a community. A lot of people stay here on the weekends, less people commute. So a lot of people look within the student population for people to have fun with and what have you. I'm part of the Copper Country Cycling Club, sorry. And so they're just a group of people who like to go road biking or mountain biking, what have you. So if you're looking for people to go road biking with, they're good people like-minded people, and there's a lot of other student organizations that do similar things.
I was a part of the Honors Institute, which is more of an academic-based student organization. This was a bunch of students that you apply when you're a senior in high school, and when you're accepted, you have a lot of privileges by being in the Honors Institute, such as expanded library privileges, access to funding for research, especially summer research. We have what's called a SURF program. It stands for Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship. And being in the Honors Institute, you actually have a greater chance of getting a SURF award because they provide some of the funding, which was very nice. But the SURF award, just to kind of veer off on a different note, anyone from any major can apply for this grant. You can either do a research project that you come up with by yourself or work with a faculty member on something that they're working on in their department. So this is a chance to get summer funding to live on campus or whatever you want to use the money towards. To stay on campus and do research. The Honors Institute also has another perk. The university gave the Honors Institute a house. So the house is probably the most luxurious place you could live in as a college student. It's fully renovated with about 13 students living in it every semester. So that was just one more perk. And we also work heavily with industry when they come to campus. For example, Kohler comes to campus and puts on an etiquette dinner where they teach engineers and everybody that might have interviews with company how to eat properly and how to have proper manners and what to order when you're having lunch with a company recruiter and stuff like that. So the Honors Institute helps with events like that, anything that company really needs to make them feel comfortable on campus. And lastly, we helped run the Undergraduate Research Expo. And this is a chance for undergrads to present their research in a poster format. So things such as the SURF, students are required to present their research and make that poster, but there wasn't really a venue before. So the Honors Institute was one of the organizations that stepped up in leadership and helped run that. I'm also involved with the Pre-Health Association at Michigan Tech, was just a bunch of students interested in going into any pre-professional field such as dentistry, veterinary, physical therapy, medical school, all of those. We get together and volunteer and put on different events on campus. I think that's it.
Not that that isn't a huge laundry list or anything. So, Leo, yes, we can go back to the major questions. So we do have another question about computer science, math, and minoring in economics. So if I'm reading this right, you want to double major in computer science and math and minor in econ. And yes, that's definitely possible. I will say that when you're layering on that many programs, you may end up having to go potentially an extra semester or maybe taking some summer classes to fit all of that in. It also depends on how many AP credits or if you're taking any community college dual credits at your high school and will be starting off with some credits under your belt. Now, as far as opportunities here at Michigan Tech, just so you guys know, in general, we do have quite a few students that will double major, will major in minor. We also have an opportunity for our students to do what's called an accelerated master's program. So what that means is that you can, for many of our programs, and there's a full list online, you can see that you can go 5 years and actually graduate with your master's. So instead of going a typical 6 years. And so if you're interested in doing that, it seems like you have a lot of different interests there. You could even do that with computer science or maybe an MBA if you want to go more the business route. You definitely could do that as well. So. So what would you say going, we're having a conversation about, tips that you would want to give. And so one of the ones they wanted to give about student organizations, and this goes for any of you, would you like to talk a little bit more about getting involved and not too involved? So you have the laundry list there. How did you balance all that?
That's tough to say. My first semester I came here, I was too excited, so I joined 4 organizations. I took a leadership role in one, and I was also taking 19 credits, working, and volunteering at the hospital. So I was literally busy from 7 a.m. until about midnight, and then I started studying. So in that regard, I was almost too busy that semester, but I learned quickly that I didn't have much time for myself, and especially being in such a beautiful area. A lot of students go exploring on the weekend, or mountain biking or rock climbing, and I didn't really get to do that in my first semester, and I didn't start it probably until my next year. So that's why I would say you should get involved with things you're really interested, really passionate about, things where you feel it's useful to go to those meetings or useful to be a part of that organization, not just to go. So definitely get involved, but don't stress yourself out too much when you go to college.
It's a lot of time management, and that is one thing I definitely learned within my first semester is time management, because in high school you go to classes for whatever 6 or 7 hours a day, and then you do sports and then homework and rinse and repeat for 4 years. But in college, you have classes spread throughout different points, throughout the day, throughout the week. So you really have to manage your time, and you're spending a lot more time outside of class, working on your homework and studying and what have you. So it's definitely difficult to balance, but it's easily done. So it's very important to manage your time.
And one of the reasons you want to manage your time is you have more time to also spend in the Keweenaw. We're in a beautiful area, and our students really take full advantage of that. I want to talk a little bit, I know we've got 2 outdoorsy students here. You definitely do not need to be big into the outdoors. With those 220 student organizations we have, there's mixed martial arts, there's a Quidditch team, there's all sorts of things, so you don't necessarily need to be outdoorsy, but if you are, it's definitely a bonus here.
I've done a lot of hiking and backpacking here. A couple weeks ago, I went to the Porcupine Mountains. I've gone to the Pictured Rocks. So those are a little bit further away, but they're relatively close. We also have the Michigan Tech ski and mountain biking trails. So those are right on campus that you can have access to for mountain biking, running, snowshoeing, and cross-country skiing in the winter. We also have Mount Ripley. It's a ski hill that students have free lift tickets to. And that's actually where I learned how to snowboard. We have some physical education classes that you have to take here. One of them is beginning snowboarding. So that's where I took that class. I got credit to learn something that I wanted to learn anyways. And it worked out quite well. And I think that semester I averaged about 4 or 5 times a week at the ski hill. So it was a really good opportunity to learn how to snowboard.
I also took advantage of the outdoors up here. Through the PE class, I learned how to ski downhill. So I took beginning skiing. And just like Jeremy, I killed 2 birds with one stone, learning something new and also getting credit for it. And after you take the class, you can take advantage of what's called Experience Tech. So all students on campus have free skiing and snowboarding, free golf, free tennis, free use of all athletic facilities, passes to games like hockey games, football games, and also some of the visual and performing arts performances that go on. So they have a lot to offer, and that's automatically included in tuition. So I definitely wasn't very outdoorsy when I got here. I was interested, but coming from downstate and not going many places outdoors beforehand, I wasn't interested. But when you get up here, there's a spirit about the Keweenaw where everyone likes to go outside, and there's a stereotype that some students will say from other areas that everyone just stays in their room and bundles up because the winter is so cold. But honestly, right when it starts to snow, all the students get bundled up and go outside. We have a sport that's called broomball. And this sport is something you probably won't find anywhere else. I would say that most students will try it, if anything, because you don't have to be very athletic to try it. Nobody's good at running on ice.
Yeah, literally, it's like a hockey game, but it's played in your gym shoes, so it's more about slipping and sliding than it is about actual skill. And it's played with a broom and a ball, so that's why it's called broom ball. So the ball, it's like a Nerf ball, kind of like about this size, and you're hitting it with a broom that's been duct taped within an inch of its life, depending on what position you're playing. And it's really nice because we have webcams on those courts. So a lot of the students will put big old stickers on their helmet so that their parents can find them on the webcams and watch their games. So this winter, definitely check out some of the webcams because they're a whole lot of fun to watch some of the games. So
I know my parents, I was on a broomball team, and my parents followed my broomball games just as avidly as my high school sports. It's pretty amusing, but it's still pretty fun.
There's a lot of pride here in broomball, so I will definitely say that.
Yeah, that's where you'll spend your late nights in the winter because most of the games are at night when you're done studying for the night, and so all the students are outside under the lights. And this year the snow was so high they were watching it from on top of the rink instead of at ground level. So it's a lot of fun. We really embrace winter, and there's free hot chocolate all season.
That's always a perk. So now we've talked a little bit about Michigan Tech, and if you have other questions or there's clubs or organizations that you guys want to know more about or anything, let us know. But I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the admission process here before we run out of time. So here at Michigan Tech, our application for next fall just opened. So if you'd like to go on and start your application over the summer, you definitely can do that. Our application is online. It's a free application. We're on what's called rolling admissions, so that means that we usually start reviewing applications somewhere roughly around September 1st. It usually takes us about 2 to 3 weeks once we have everything together to get back to you with an answer on whether or not you've been admitted or not. Most of our applicants will require the application, a high school transcript, as well as your ACT or SAT scores. We don't have a preference, and I know I've had a lot of questions about it today. We do not super score, so as far as that's concerned, we really look at your overall composite, as well as sometimes your math sub score for a few of our majors. Most of our majors do not require an essay or a letter of recommendation. Some of the exceptions to that are in the visual and performing arts, and if you need to do anything additional there, that will tell you exactly what you need to do for those programs as part of our application. Our scholarships here at Michigan Tech vary depending on if you're a Michigan or non-Michigan resident student, but the process is pretty similar. These programs that you see here are based on your application. They're looking at your ACT or SAT scores, your GPA, and your class ranks, so that those are the components that go into determining what scholarship that you'd be looking for. So it's anywhere from $1,500 to $4,500 for Michigan residents and for first-year students, and $7,000 to $12,500 for out-of-state students. And the difference is because there is a little bit of a difference between in-state and out-of-state tuition. For transfer students, that's going to be based off of your college GPA. So if you're looking to go to community college first and then transferring into Michigan Tech, so it's a 3.0 or higher, and depending on your GPA, you'll either get $1,500 or $3,000 for Michigan residents or $4,000 or $7,000 for non-Michigan residents. Like I said, you don't have to do anything additional for these awards except for apply. If we do have any children or grandchildren of Michigan Tech alums, make sure to mark that down in your application because we also have awards for those students as well. We do have one special program here at Michigan Tech that does have an early deadline of October 15th. So October 15th, that is going to be here before you know it, so you might want to start sooner than later on this. So Leading Scholars is for our top students here, and it gives us an opportunity for it's the same process, but we have one competition for our Michigan residents competing against each other and one competition for our non-Michigan residents. You do need to submit an additional essay. That essay question should be coming out in the next few weeks, so you might want to check our website maybe after the 4th of July or so. And we also need an additional letter of recommendation from a teacher for this particular program. You do not need to do that if you are not wanting to be considered for this. We pick out of the pool of students who apply the top 30 students from Michigan and the top 10 students from places other than Michigan. And we invite you here on campus the first weekend in December to compete. So the top students will have an opportunity to earn 3 full tuition, room and board, and $1,000 for Michigan residents, and the non-Michigan residents are competing against each other for full tuition. Just for being selected as a finalist and for making the trip up to campus, we do have awards. So 27 of the people who did not receive the top award will have $8,000, and the 7 finalists from the non-Michigan will receive $17,000 scholarship. So same process for Michigan and non-Michigan residents. You're just competing against each other for those awards. And then also, just so you know, the scholarships that I talked about before, so I'm going to go back a slide here. So for these university scholarships, the Presidential Scholars and the National Scholars programs, those are renewable for 4 years, as well as the Leading Scholar program is also renewable for 4 years. So that's really all we have for you. If you have additional questions, let us know. Is there anything else that you guys want to add about your Michigan Tech experience?
Not offhand.
Okay. If I could ask you one last question then, why did you choose Michigan Tech? What was like the draw?
I don't know. For me, I toured Michigan Tech when I was a junior. My sister was a senior. So I came to campus. I loved the campus, loved the area. As well, I heard my sister when I was talking to her when she was up here, she was telling me about all these fun stuff she was doing outdoors, with the snow, what have you, and all the really cool atmosphere up here. So that's what drew me in, as well as I know I said earlier, with having an 8-hour drive or average 8-hour drive for students, it created more of a community, and that's one of the reasons why I came here.
How about you?
I picked for a couple of reasons. I visited Michigan Tech for a summer youth program in my junior year of high school, and that was Women in Engineering. And that was the first time I was really exposed to campus. It was in the summer. And then I also came up in the winter one time to see what it was like in the opposite season. And in both visits, I found that I really liked 2 things. One is the size. It's that medium-sized school, so I didn't feel like I would be in like a high school setting, but it wasn't so big where I was lost in the crowd. I could still recognize faces. And the second thing were the people. Whenever I expressed an interest in something, I always felt like someone really cared about it and put me where I needed to be. Like I was interested in electron microscopes, and the lab manager took me through all of his labs, and I landed a job in the material science department, which in the end made me a huge network of both faculty and students on campus, so I'm very grateful for that. And just the people in general are really genuine, friendly, and very, very supportive. It's a very collaborative atmosphere, and that's something that I didn't really find at any other college.
Well, thank you so much for helping us out today, and thank you for joining us. If you do have additional questions, definitely make sure to email us at mtu4u@mtu.edu. And if you have anything else that you'd like to add, just give us a call as well at our 800 number. We hope to talk to you soon and hope to see your applications.